From a station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
Now at 5:30, you may be able to get your grocery shopping done and coronavirus vaccine all in the same place. The plan's in place to expand vaccination locations. And a shift in their mission. What's next for Indiana National Guard members who have been helping at nursing homes during the pandemic? Chris?
Topping our lineup, muscle aches and headaches can be temporary side effects of the COVID vaccine. Why some experts now say you want to avoid taking an over-the-counter pain reliever before getting the shot. All this week, we're helping you combat misinformation and fake news, the simple online tools that you can use to verify information that you see or read. And COVID sniffing dogs will be part of the strategy to bring fans back inside a basketball arena tomorrow, how the people who trained those dogs got them ready, and where we could see this detection method used next.
And this Wednesday, not the easiest of evening commutes across all of central Indiana. There you can see in Greencastle and the roads, especially those secondary roads, becoming a little snow covered, a little slick out there, and that snow also reducing visibility. But you can see that that is really as we get along and south of I-70, where we see some of those bursts of snow. Pretty quickly, it shuts down as we get on the north side of Indianapolis. But some bursts of snow here for you along I-65 as you're traveling between Indy and Columbus. You get to Noblesville, not really expecting to see much in the way of snow at all for you. Here's a look at TrueCast, 7 o'clock this evening. Those snow showers still in place. As we get to around 10 o'clock or so, I think things will really start to wind down. May see a few flurries, isolated snow showers as we get that wind off of Lake Michigan. But so far, an inch of snow for you in Spencer, Brownstown, and Unionville. Paragon coming in with about an inch and a half there in all those locations south of I-70. So that's where we'll see the heaviest and additional snowfall. Most areas about an inch to maybe some 3-inch amounts, and that 1 inch on Indy there. I think as you go north through Marion County, it will drop off pretty quickly. There's a look at the lower visibility we've got downtown right now with some snow showers in Indy and Bloomington. Temperatures in the upper 20s. We'll see the snow moving out for now, but we got another round to talk about coming our way this weekend. Amanda?
All right, thanks, Kyle. More options for eligible Hoosiers to get the coronavirus vaccine. Select Kroger, Meijer, and Walmart stores are now joining the state in delivering or preparing to deliver the vaccines. At today's weekly coronavirus briefing, State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Box explained how you will be able to access making appointments at these additional sites.
We continue to work to expand appointments and vaccine sites so that every Hoosier who is currently eligible can get a vaccine as soon as possible at a location that is convenient for them. In the past week, Meijer, Kroger, and Walmart have either begun offering vaccine or are preparing to do so at select stores throughout the state. You will see these locations listed on our map at ourshot.in.gov. As we add more and more vaccination sites, some of them will be using their own appointment registration system. So, for example, Meijer and Kroger will be using their own existing appointment systems. Walmart will be using the state system. What this means is that the 211 call center can only help you make appointments at sites using the state's sign-up system, such as hospitals, local health departments, etc. 211 will not be able to make appointments for you at Meijer or Kroger websites.
And Dr. Box also stressed you must have an appointment. You just can't walk in and expect to get a vaccination at one of those stores. Also, not every location of those retailers are giving out the vaccine right now. For example, Kroger informed us today they are offering the vaccine at 45 of their Indiana pharmacies and only at stores in counties suggested by the State Health Department. They include Bartholomew, Boone, Delaware, Hamilton, Hancock, and Howard. Marion County is not one of them. Regardless of who you sign up with to get your vaccination, it only applies to eligible Hoosiers, which right now are those 70 and older healthcare workers, first responders, and those in long-term care facilities. You can register at ourshot.in.gov or by calling 211. State health officials said today they hope to expand appointments to those aged 65 to 69 sometime next week. And this weekend, the National Guard will start its departure from Indiana nursing homes after 3 months on the job, assisting with the efforts to deal with the coronavirus pandemic. Guard members have been helping with everything from screening visitors to taking temperatures as well as data entry. Today, state health officials announced their goal is for Guard members to stay through each facility's second vaccine clinic. The process will begin January 31st with the goal of removing all Guard members from nursing homes by March 15th.
The work of these soldiers has boosted morale, helped free up staff to provide clinical care, and has no doubt, when combined with our other efforts, saved lives. To the General, to all his commanders, and to the brave men and women of the National Guard, we owe you a debt of gratitude and our sincere thanks and appreciation.
Most National Guard members are expected to return to civilian employment or head to other critical missions. Chris?
The Biden administration's COVID-19 response team gave a briefing for the first time today. The new director of the CDC was on the call. Dr. Rochelle Walensky says that while cases and hospitalizations are finally trending downward, they're still considered extremely high. Now, experts are also keeping an eye on those new variants.
The variants have been identified recently, seem to spread more easily. They're more transmissible, which can lead to increased number of cases and increased stress on our already taxed healthcare system.
The variant that originated in the UK has already been found in 26 states, and the variant from South Africa has yet to be found in the U.S. Now, while much of the focus right now seems to be on vaccinations, the Health Equity Task Force is still worried about communities of color, including Latinos, African Americans, and indigenous people. They are still dying at higher rates than their white counterparts. The task force doesn't just want these groups to have access to the vaccine. They also want to make sure they stay healthy while they wait.
So that includes ensuring access to PPE, testing, treatments, and vaccines. It also includes making it possible for people to safely quarantine and isolate and to monitor the impacts of long COVID.
President Biden's plan is to get 100 million people vaccinated during his first 100 days in office. The CDC says the country is on track of achieving that goal. In fact, vaccination rates are at more than 1 million per day and rising. Johnson & Johnson's vaccine candidate could be available within days, according to Dr. Anthony Fauci. Now, while there is no stockpile of vaccine reserves right now, President Biden has promised to send more doses to states in the coming weeks. The acting Secretary of Homeland Security is putting out a new warning about a heightened threat environment across the U.S. DHS information suggests that some ideologically motivated violent extremists with objections to the exercise of government authority and the transition of presidential power could continue to mobilize to incite or commit violence. Now, you can help by reporting suspicious activity and threats of violence and online activity to local law enforcement. We do have more to get to in our lineup. There are new recommendations not to take certain over-the-counter meds before getting the COVID-19 vaccines, what doctors say the concern is, and what they recommend instead.
Only at Ashley Home Store.
A lot of people, in anticipation of a potentially uncomfortable medical event, may take something for pain ahead of time. But some doctors are warning, don't do that before the COVID-19 vaccine. There just isn't enough known yet about pain medications like Tylenol or Advil and how they may interact with COVID vaccines. The vaccine triggers the immune system to build up a response to COVID-19. And since some pain relievers are anti-inflammatories, that can impact the immune system from responding like it normally would. The theory is that it could reduce the effectiveness of the vaccine.
Another reason it's helpful not to pre-medicate yourself is that you can really pay attention to what your symptoms are and not mask them.
Dr. Jewel Mullen is also an advocate for not pre-medicating. She says after the shot, if you feel achy or feverish, that's a different story. Now, Dr. Mullen got her first dose of the vaccine and just kept moving her arm around the next day to work out the soreness.
The more we favor something that's not really fully injured, it also reinforces for us psychologically there's something wrong with us or there's something wrong with it. And this is such a short-term side effect. There's no reason to stop. Generally, moving things around makes them feel better.
Well, if you do take pain medication or anti-inflammatories on a regular basis for other issues, it is best to talk to your doctor about using them with the COVID vaccine. Dr. Jewel is more concerned about people getting inaccurate information about vaccines.
I had gratitude for all of the success of the medical research and science that got us this vaccine in a safe, science-based way, so that we can feel secure that we're doing something to protect people along the way.
Still ahead in our lineup, all this week, we're helping you combat misinformation and fake news. The simple online tools that you can use to verify information that you see or read.
Galleries. Live life comfortably.
As the pandemic continues, parents and doctors are noticing that kids' eyes are being negatively affected when they don't take regular breaks. Stephanie Stone shows us how often young children need to get a break to avoid problems with their eyes.
Find a parent, any parent during this pandemic, and most will tell you it has been and continues to be difficult. Kids at home, working parents, virtual learning.
This topic touches a nerve in parents, and it's because we are all under so much pressure.
That's Dr. Jenny Radusky. If there's an expert on screens, it's her. Parents, she says, are like pressure cookers right now. She recommends putting it all out there and talking tech in family meetings.
It is a conversation. It is complicated. Parenting can never be captured in sound bites, right? Parenting is so complicated. It's so individual. It needs to be a deeper reflection.
The American Academy of Ophthalmology has come up with the 20-20-20 rule.
Dr. Catherine Jordan is a pediatric ophthalmologist. These days, she's noticing the impact of that detrimental increase of screens on her patients' eyes. The 20-20-20 rule is a good start.
The rule is basically every 20 minutes, try and take a 20-second break by looking 20 feet in the distance.
She recommends taking some time to blink.
The term is digital eye strain. That's not actually a diagnosable code, so we can't have that in the patient's chart as a diagnosis. But digital eye strain is a well-known term that we use for kids that have symptoms of blurriness, pain, tearing, redness, headaches.
Dr. Jordan says if you're using electronics for learning, try not to use them in your free time. Dr. Radusky says have honest conversations as a family about what's good tech and what's bad. And take it easy on yourself. Help your kids see that we're all in this together. I'm Stephanie Stone, reporting.
Stephanie, thank you. Now, Apple is urging people to update their iPhones and their iPads. It says the new update will fix security bugs that could be exploited by hackers. Apple did not say exactly what the bugs could affect, but did say hackers could use the bugs to exploit more flaws. The security fix is included in the new iOS 14.4 software.
You can still see the grass at IMS, but some areas are getting a little snow covered out there. Really a reduction of visibility going to be the biggest issue around Indianapolis. But as we travel to the south, that's where the snow has really been adding up, and you really don't have to go that far to the south and west. Even around Greencastle, those roads are pretty snow covered at this point. Heaviest snow again along and south of I-70, accumulations 1 to 2 inches, but we could see some areas in southern communities that get up to around 3 inches of snow before it all winds down here by about 10 o'clock this evening. And there you can see that sharp cutoff just north of Interstate 70. So not a whole lot of snow for you there in Hamilton County. And there's the back edge of the system. So you can see it is moving through pretty quickly for us. And as we check out TrueCast, as we get to 7 o'clock this evening, some of those pockets of moderate snow still down around Bloomington, Nashville, and Seymour. As we get to 11 o'clock tonight, we got just a few flurries and isolated snow showers coming off of Lake Michigan up around Monticello and Lafayette. Tomorrow, we will see the return of some sunshine. We'll get the snow out of here, but it is going to be on the chilly side with temperatures only making their way into the lower 30s. I don't think we'll see total sunshine because we will still have that north wind, and that will continue to bring in some of that cloud cover throughout the day. But it should be a brighter day than what we had. And then as we look ahead to the weekend, another weather system is going to be rolling our way. Still a lot going to change with this, but it looks like we could start off with some snow as we go late Saturday into Sunday and then finish up with some accumulating snow there as well. Check out that 7-day planning forecast, highs in the 30s the next 7 days. There's that system over the weekend and then a little calmer for next week. Chris?
This week is News Literacy Week, and we have made a commitment to highlighting how you can avoid falling for misinformation. Lisa Nieves shows us the growing resources now available to make fact-checking easy for anyone, but she's also looking at why some are resistant to quickly verifying information before sending it to someone else.
Everywhere you look, information is being presented to you. And now, more than ever, we have become aware that the information is not always accurate.
Information is the basis for all the decisions we make. It can distort the democratic process and damage our communities, our families.
Peter Adams is with the News Literacy Project, a nonpartisan and nonprofit organization that provides resources for students and the public to learn how to sort through new information.
The first step, I would say, is to pay attention to where you are in the information ecosystem. So if you're watching standards-based news, you at least know that some processes of verification have taken place there. When you're on social media, when you're on Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram or TikTok, most of that is user-generated content. And so you don't know who produced that information, and you don't know their motives or their methods.
Regardless of where the information comes from, it should be fact-checked. And that is something that has become quicker and easier to do.
Checking the comments actually can be a great way. If something seems a little too on the nose, if you don't see anything in the comments, do a quick Google search. You can do that in about 45 seconds.
There's also a growing list of credible websites dedicated specifically to fact-checking information. One of the oldest is Snopes.com. On the homepage of this site, you'll see new headlines already researched and fact-checked. You can also use a search bar to fact-check something not on the main page that you might have come across. You simply type the headline or pose it in a question form, and the website will present you with fact-checked links to get accurate information on that issue.
In the same way that, there's a social good to showing some restraint with your garbage and not throwing it down where you stand or throwing it in the street. If everybody took 1 minute before they shared something they weren't sure about, we could eliminate a lot of the pollution in our information streams.
If fact-checking has become easier and faster than ever, why isn't everyone doing it?
In a way, the internet has so much content on it, which is fascinating, amazing, but it's so hard to digest.
Dr. Daniel Jolly is a senior lecturer at Northumbria University in the UK and focuses on the psychology of conspiracy theories and misinformation. He says some people feel safer staying in what he calls an echo chamber, reading and sharing information that supports their beliefs. It's scarier and risky for them to check information that could challenge that belief system.
So it is important to talk to people who are in those echo chambers, but the key thing is to have compassion, because if you go in and you tell that person that they are wrong and you are right, already that person will be defensive.
Having compassion while normalizing a habit of fact-checking could help all of us more easily filter through all the information thrown at us to get to actual facts. I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
All right, Alicia, thank you. Now, finally in our lineup, COVID-sniffing dogs will be part of the strategy to bring fans back inside a basketball arena tomorrow. How the people who trained those dogs got them ready, and where we could see this detection method used next.
Keller and Keller.
Dogs that can detect COVID could be part of the solution to getting us back to events safely during the pandemic. Tomorrow, the Miami Heat will be reopening their arena to a limited number of fans with the help of those dogs. Airports outside the U.S. have tested using dogs to detect COVID, but the Heat will be the first NBA team to try this.
The experience when you get to the arena should be pretty similar with one added step. Before you get to the metal detectors, you'll stand in line, a dog will walk past you, and that's pretty much it.
The dog will sit down next to a person if they detect anything. The executive vice president for business strategy with the Heat says they started testing out the dog teams with smaller groups at the arena last year, working with a company called Sniff, who originated this idea, and a company, Global Canine Protection Group, who already does a lot of dog detection work. They provided us this video of the dogs training to detect COVID. VP of Commercial Services at Global Canine Protection Group tells us that the process of getting the detection dogs ready for tomorrow's game started back in May. He says the COVID odor that the dogs used to train was validated through several studies, and they also had to train the dogs and handlers for the unique environment of working outside of an arena.
When you start talking about targeting a specific area on a person and doing it in a queue line where there's dots on the ground, and so not only does the dog have to learn how to do that, but the handler has to learn how to not impede the dog while the dog's working.
Global Canine Protection Group and the Heat both stress the dogs are just one part of getting fans back safely.
What makes sense is using the dog for initial screening for triage, and in this context, it's for a basketball game.
The dogs are not in lieu of safety controls. They are on top of a strict masking policy, a very limited food and beverage policy in order to prevent people from removing their masks, and a lot of arena enhancements we've made in order to improve the safety of the fan.
They are confident they have enough data on the dog's abilities to detect COVID now, but they will be doing more studies going forward as well. The heat has already been hearing from the business community. Airlines and cruise lines will be watching how these COVID detecting dogs work. Now, the pandemic has caused people to lean on their credit cards, sometimes to the sum of around $20,000. Tomorrow, the push by some in Washington to include help in the next stimulus bill for people suffering from credit card debt.
Light to moderate snow is going to continue for the next few hours here around Bloomfield into Franklin and Columbus as well. Could see another inch or two of accumulation, but by 10 o'clock tonight, all of that will have moved out. Check of that 7-day planning forecast. Dry for the end of the week, a little bit colder there, and then another system we'll keep our eyes on for the weekend.